Hello, and welcome to the PennDOW AER Virtual Conference, Taking Charge, Restore, Refresh, Renew. It's with great pleasure that we present this conference to you. My name is Holly Russell, and I'm the president of PennDOW AER. We are so glad that you've joined us for this year's virtual conference. We are hopeful that over the next few days, you take the time to restore, refresh, and renew yourselves, both personally and professionally. I would like to thank the Conference Planning Committee with Chair Angela Humbertson and Assistant Chair Aaron Weaver for all of their hard work and thoughtful planning. I would also like to thank the PennDOW AER Board of Directors for their support. The Conference Planning Committee has really been working overtime to bring this virtual conference to you. Now I will turn it over to Angela Humbertson, who's the chair of the Conference Planning Committee.
Thank you, Holly. Good evening and welcome to the PennDOW AER Virtual Conference. I would like to take a moment to also thank the Conference Planning Committee. Without the dedication and support of this wonderful group of peers, this conference would not have been possible. Thank you. This virtual conference will focus on strategies for recharging, refreshing, and renewing ourselves professionally and personally, and ways to share those strategies with our students and clients. The conference will offer the 3 general sessions featuring Canadian musician and advocate Terry Kelly, international speaker and trainer Kevin O'Connor, Dr. Marla Moon, founding and principal partner from Nittany I Associates, Robin Clark, expanded core curriculum coordinator for the Utah Schools for the Deaf and the Blind. And we are so excited to see all of you and hope you can join us for the social and networking events. We look forward to seeing you at the awards banquet and social event after the banquet, where we will honor the recipients of the Richard L. Welsh Service Award, the Eleanor Long Educator of the Year Award, and the Student Scholarship winners. We have so many updates to share with you about the work that our chapter has been doing and hope you can join us for the chapter membership meeting. There will be opportunities to win one of 4 $25 gift cards or a complimentary early bird registration fees to the 2022 AER International Conference in St. Louis in July, along with $500 in travel expenses. The full day exhibitor event on Friday promises to be very informative and worthwhile. And now a few housekeeping items. We request that during the sessions, you please turn your video and audio off unless invited to turn them on by the presenters. Also, please change your name to reflect what you would like on your certificate of attendance. Registration is required for each session. So if you haven't registered for each session yet, please visit our chapter website at penn-delaer.org. The conference buzz was sent out earlier this week, and it had a short video on how to adjust your Zoom viewing settings, which they just showed a few minutes ago. Hopefully you had a chance to watch the video on your own as well. A certificate of attendance can be obtained upon request. The certificate may be used to submit to your employer for continuing education credits, such as Act 48. You should have also received an email that gave you the links for the session evaluations, the overall conference evaluation, and the steps to receive your ACT or your certificate of attendance. At this time, I'd like to ask Mary Nell to join.
Okay, I'm here.
Hi, Mary Nell. I'll pass the presentation to you.
How are you folks? Thank you, Angela. It is my pleasure as the PennDOW AER Conference program chair for the conference, not the chair of the whole conference, but for the program. And it's my pleasure to introduce our presenters for our opening session tonight. We have a couple of things that we want to warn you about. One is about some language that you may hear. Not going to be X-rated, but we want to make sure that when you hear a lot of conversation about teachers, about teaching, about learning, possibly about students or pupils, or if you hear about classrooms or schools, know that we are not just talking about education in the concrete sense. but that we're talking about every one of us as learners and every one of us as teachers. So, you know, you may be a TVI, but regardless of whether you're a TVI, whether you're trained as an educator, or whether you're come at this because of a family, or whether you're part of an association, if you are O&M and you work on the streets and not in a classroom, if you are a rehabilitation professional and you work with adults, not with children, if you're a bros and you're serving veterans, you're still teaching, whether we realize it or not. We are all teachers, and we are all teaching all the time, even if it's primarily by our example. So when you hear us talk about teachers tonight, count yourself into that cadre of people that Kevin and Terry will be speaking about. So we know that you're teachers and we appreciate you. So let me tell you a little bit about the two presenters. I'm basically going to turn it over and let you find out from themselves. But you know, each of us from time to time in our lives are touched by an intersection with someone, or it could be just a momentary, or it could be a short introduction to someone who's in your life for a little while, and they're special and they mark our lives and they give us an impact and a gift. And then sadly, we may never cross paths with that person again. But then on the other side, on the flip side, sometimes we find that our paths cross with somebody who does mark our minds, our lives, maybe our hearts. And those people we're fortunate enough to have in our lives over a long period of time. So I am fortunate enough that the two presenters tonight fall into that latter category for me. Kevin O'Connor, and I will turn it over to Kevin, but many of you know him because he's been a perennial with PennDel and some of our leadership events and also our annual conference. Kevin is an international speaker. He's a trainer. He's a university teacher. He is an author. He's a facilitator. But most of all, and probably most importantly, he is the father of a son who has a visual impairment. So he comes to us not as a trained teacher of the visually impaired, but nevertheless, he is a teacher. So Kevin, I'm going to turn it over to you and then let you and Terry Kelly take it from there. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Marinelle. And welcome everybody to this great conference. Let me get myself on here. The host is going to have to put me up on the screen. You know, one of the things that about this conference, here we go. Let me start my video. All right, good. Hi, everybody. So one of the great things about this conference is not all the people that you're going to meet, it's the coming together that you will meet, as you always do when you have these conferences. And so I'm very happy to be with you. And I'd like to introduce Terry Kelly, if you could bring Terry up. And Terry, welcome. We'll get him on the screen here in a minute. Here he is. Hi, Terry.
Hey, here we are. There you
are. You're great. Yeah, there you are. And so, you know, Terry, you play the clarinet, the accordion, the piano, the guitar. At least that's what I've heard, probably a few more, and you're a singer. I don't know if you know this, but Wayne Newton, who was Mr. Las Vegas, once said to me personally, I am the Terry Kelly of the United States. So, you know, which is a pretty cool thing, right? So,
well, Kevin, I'm shocked and just devastated that my kazoo ability isn't written in that bio. Can we add that, please?
I will do that. I will do that.
Right.
So, Terry, Americans believe that Canadians are the nicest people in the world, but I wonder, are Halifaxians as nice as normal Canadians?
we're pretty nice people, but guess what? I haven't met an American yet that I haven't liked. So,
Oh, all
you know what my
right.
dad used to say, Kevin? My dad would say, Terry, people are as you are. So,
Oh, nice.
how
Say
about
that
that?
one more time.
People are as you are.
Oh, that's interesting.
So for the most part, that's, that usually works
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And
I,
uh,
we're going to
so
learn about you through your songs tonight. But I heard that you performed for the Queen. Is that correct?
I did.
And she was rocking along with you, from what I understand. Wayne Newton told me that too.
Oh, so I sang the national anthem for the Queen, but
Oh my God.
Princess Margaret was at a different event one time.
Wow.
And so Princess Margaret was there, and she was a fun loving lady. So I checked with the protocol people. I said, do you think, because I was going to do the after dinner show. I said, do you think if I do Mama Likes to Rock and Roll, I could ask Princess Margaret to, join in? And I said, well, don't know if you should go there, Terry. But anyway, Kevin, you're a performer, speaker, you read the audience, right? So I'm doing my thing, and I feel this can work. So lo and behold, we did it. Princess Margaret was up on her feet with everybody else and screaming out, she likes to rock and roll, So yeah, that was great. And the protocol
One
people
other thing
probably
before I ask you to do a song.
can imagine the heart attacks that were happening with the protocol people. So.
Yeah. You received the Order of Canada. Can you tell us what that is? Those of us in the United States and around the world who are not familiar with that.
Well, it's for people in the country who've done things to better the quality of living in the country, and so on. But I have to say, Kevin, that anytime someone sees, and I don't have the pin on tonight, by the way, I should have it on. Whenever anyone asks me about that, I have to remind them that nothing I do is done by myself, meaning I have to initiate things I want to do in my life. But as you know, whether it's your family or people around you, you build your team, and without team and without love, without community, things don't happen. So I just happened to be the person who was given the pin. And so, it's my brother, my manager, my wife, my family, my coaches, all the people in my life added up to that. So I'm just lucky enough to have it on my.
Well, we're back to what your father said, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's coming up springtime. People are working in the gardens, and why don't you play a song for us, Terry?
Sure. Okay. We can talk about this after I play it. So it's a song. I'll just say this much to start with. It's a song I wrote, and Mary, I call her Mary Bob, but Mary Nels spoke of teachers and how everyone is a teacher if you choose to be. And that goes for children, adults, doesn't matter. So this is a song I wrote in celebration of teachers and the people in my life who've given me so much. And one of the messages in this tune is, if you haven't said thank you to some teacher or mentor, even if they're gone, you can say it in a meditation or a prayer, or just write a letter and send it off, put it in a bottle, but say thank you in whatever way is comfortable, and they'll get it somehow. And it also makes us feel good to show that gratitude. Here it is, In the Garden. Think of all the people in your life who have left impressions on you. The ones who never let you down, those who were there each time you lost your way. Oh, through your lifetime, you remember the ones who really cared, 'cause they were always there in the garden where the flowers grow, in the garden the future will unfold. Thank God for the rivers and the mountains and the valleys down below. Thank God for the teachers of our children so the garden can grow. Everybody knows that a garden needs attention to succeed. Without a firm and guiding hand, a tender sprout is lost among weeds. Oh, through your lifetime, you remember those who guided you along until your roots were firm and strong in the garden where the flowers grow. In the garden, a better future will unfold. Thank God for the rivers and the mountains and the valleys down below. Thank God for the teachers of our children so the garden can grow. Thank you. Let your teachers know you'll pass their gift along so others may grow strong in the garden where the flowers grow. In the garden, a better future will unfold. Thank God for the rivers and the mountains and the valleys down below. Thank God for the teachers of our children so the garden can grow. So the garden can grow. So the children will grow. In the garden.
Thank you very much, Terry. You know, it's interesting to me that, and we don't know each other that well, but the impression I had is that when you were very young, your parents made a decision to transplant you to another garden. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, you're right. And so I live in Halifax now, and I grew up in the most eastern part of North America, St. John's, Newfoundland. The next stop is Ireland. And so when I was a kid, my mom and dad sent me to a regular public school. And despite what they tried, the reading thing never worked, Kevin. So the best I could do was get a set of plastic letters and do a little printing. So I spent 2 years in kindergarten there, primary. And then my mom and dad heard about the School for the Blind in Halifax here, which is probably, maybe 1,000 miles away, whatever, really? In that range. So they sent me at 7 years old. I left home and went to a residential school, spent 9 months of the year away from home. And that was the most difficult thing for me. And I can't even imagine, after having children, how difficult that must have been for them. But I get to the School for the Blind in Halifax, and lo and behold, Kevin, 3 years, my third year in kindergarten that year. So I'm an expert in kindergarten, primary class, if anybody wants any help with that one. When I got to the school, before I left home, I should say, neighbors, aunts, uncles, cousins, people thought, what's going to happen to this poor little kid? because he's blind and that sort of thing. And my mom and dad, when they heard about the school, they made that beautiful decision to send me there. Then I get to the school for the blind, and nobody cried. Nobody was sad. And nobody overprotected or babied us. Did anybody love us? Well, anyway, so I discovered that the real love was they gave us the independence, and they taught us to be problem solvers, taught us to be dream adjusters, and to actually be a dream adjuster to the point where we can make a dream come true by using our imagination and our creativity and using the gifts that we had other than our sight. So sight was, well, you don't have it. Basically, they taught us, get over it, get on with it.
Tell me about the teachers there. This was a school 1,000 miles away from your mom and dad. You're 7 years old. This has got to be tough. And all of a sudden you're thrust into many other adults who are quote, quote, tending to you. What were they like?
They were some of the most caring people I've ever known in my life. And in fact, when I said just then, get over it, get on with it, the thing I didn't add to that, Kevin, was they also showed us how to do that. So they taught us how to, discover what our gifts are. And, whether I'm speaking to children or adults, corporate people, it's amazing how sometimes people aren't really aware of all their gifts. And even if a gift is being apologetic or gifts, as you know, there's a big range of gifts. So to know, to constantly be looking, so what are my gifts? How can I serve the world with the gifts that I have within me? And that's my job, and our job, I believe, is to discover our gifts, discover our purpose, and then be purposeful.
To really translate my skills into action then.
Exactly, yeah.
You went on to become a Paralympian. You were on the first track team for Paralympics in the world. You told me earlier that you were the first person in the world to run the sub 5-minute mile. Your wife yelled at you from the other room and said, blind person. And you said, oh, yeah. And she said, third person. And you said, oh, yeah. So that tells me that you're domesticated.
So you said earlier, Kevin, you don't really know me. You've kind of got a bit of the picture there, eh?
I got a feeling I know your wife, so.
Yeah, you know her better than me.
Yeah. So what happened then was, I wonder if these teachers taught you a lot of stuff, but they taught you confidence, because apparently you discovered some gifts and then you expanded those and then took them to the world stage.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And so sometimes they would point them out and say, this is a good idea for you. You want to try it? Or would you want to try this? And asking the question, or have a little go with this, or just, I remember when I was wondering if I should be playing piano or not, there was a retired Navy guy who was a house parent. They were the people who were with us after school. And I wasn't doing my practicing, and I wasn't, so the music teacher came to this Mr. Fraser and said, Mr. Fraser, Terry's got, he should be working, doing this music homework, and what can we do? Mr. Fraser, this big PTI, which is physical fitness trainer in the Navy, he comes and he says, Terry, I need a favor from you. I said, what's that, sir? He said, I want you to teach me how to play piano. I mean, what a way to get me focused on that.
Wow.
Isn't that magic?
Wow.
The brilliance of that. That's the kind of, that's, my life has been like that. That's the magic. And so we're, as Mary Nell said, everyone at this conference is a teacher or a gift giver, or sharing your purpose with other people. Yeah. And I always like to talk about, Kevin, and we'll get on with this a little later, but if you're blind in your mind, if I'm unable to see, Mr. Fraser could see the possibilities in me. So he had me show him so I could have better vision about what my abilities are. And so
These,
Um,
these
it's
teachers and
important.
rehabbers kind of have a way, don't they? They just
Yeah, just simple little things like that.
what a
So,
gift. Huh?
and everyone at this conference, you know, I always like to say, are you blind in your mind, or to what degree
Yeah.
are you blind in your mind? And the first place you look is my own vision of myself, or my own vision of the world.
Yeah.
Because if we see ourselves as maybe inadequate, even if we aren't aware of it, we'll pass that inadequacy along to our students or the people that we're coaching, whether they're adults or young people.
Lynn Fox is writing in the chat box, discover your purpose to be purposeful.
Yes.
Thanks you for a powerful message. Isn't that interesting? Wow. Wow. And this all started, I mean, certainly before 7, but after 7 is when they really lit the fuse, when they really fertilized the garden. And they started to teach you to read. I know you, can you play that song for us? The one about reading?
Oh, sure. Well, you know, when there's an organization here in Canada called the CNIB, which is the Canadian National Institute for the Blind. And they are, you know, advocates, and they provide a lot of services for those of people with partial vision or blind. And so a man named Mr. Story came to our house to tell my mom and dad about the School for the Blind. I'm just finding my headset here. I remember he was totally blind himself, and he took his little Braille slate out. Some of you folks out there will remember those. I don't know if Braille slates are still kicking around for Braille users, but Kevin, your son was blind. He probably had one at one time, did he?
I can't remember if he did. I know he had, they were teaching him Braille, where you have to punch the holes with the little thing that was going on.
That's the one. And so he's punching a little one dot at a time for each letter. And a lot of people don't know this. You have to write backwards. When you're writing with a slate, you write from right to left. So when you flip the page over, you can read from left to right.
Oh, okay.
So with the Braille machines, the dots come up and it's already prepared for you left to right. But when we write with a slate, right to left. I still use it. I love it. It comes in handy in a lot of places. But anyway, so Mr. Story wrote my name in Braille. Like, after he spoke with my mom and dad, he said, had a chat with me, and then he wrote my name in Braille. He said, put your fingers on this, Terry. You know, I'm putting, for those of you who can't see, I'm putting my fingers on the top of the keyboard here. And he showed me, he said, it's going to feel like there's just a bunch of little dots there. Not going to mean much to you right now. But he said, someday that will be a book for you, and you'll read a book that way. And you'll do all sorts of things in your life with Braille. And so literacy has always been an important thing for me. So my business partner and manager, brother Tony Kelly, and I, a few years, well, probably maybe 10 years ago now, we did a whole documentary on the different ways of learning. So reading, of course, is one, but there are other ways of learning as well. Storytelling, sign language, a whole bunch of different ways. So we put this thing together to illustrate the different ways of learning. And of course, we had to include a little thing about Louis Braille in here somewhere, you know. So shall I do it?
Yes, please. Please do.
Oh, wait, no, no. Actually, this is a video that's going to be played from your end. Okay. I forgot about that. Thank you, Tony. So here it is, In the Garden. No. That All May Read, it's called.
That's right.
Gotcha. Okay. You turn that up.
Please, Mama, read to me. Show me the picture, sing my ABCs. Dear Papa, make up a story. Show me some magic, and I'll count to 3. I want to read. Please, Mama, Papa, please. I want to read. the days as a younger boy, when he learned to read and write his name. He got the stars and the highest grades. Her marks were poor. She was teased and ignored. She grew up to believe no one would ever care. Then he came by with a valentine. Though she struggled with each line, she would come to know in time that all may read. And so the seed of self-belief, may the power and the joy of words grow courage to fly free. May her hopes and dreams become reality. May she come to choose to fight the fear to try. Let her learn and grow as knowledge turns the pages in her life, that all may read. He looked into her eyes, past the years of disguise, saw her shame, frustration, even felt her pain. He took her hand and they turned the page. The road they chose took them away and back home, opening blinded eyes and minds all over the world. Young selfless lovers with their teachers' hearts, planting hope each day with every word and every phrase. They're bound to find the way that all may read. And so the seed of self-belief, may the power and the joy of words grow courage to fly free. May their hopes and dreams become reality, giving others strength to fight the fear to try. Watching them learn and grow as knowledge flows, filling minds and lives that all may read. She found freedom in the words in his valentine. The walls came down and they stepped across that line, shining bright for those who learn in different ways. With the guardians of books and children and the gift from Louis Braille, they all light the way that all may read. And so the seed of self-belief, may the power and the joy of words grow courage to fly free. May their hopes and dreams become reality. May they come to choose to fight the fear to try. Let them learn and grow as knowledge flows through fingers, ears, and eyes. They're opening the book and all may read. And so the seed of self-belief, may the power and the joy of words grow courage to fly free. May all hopes and dreams become reality. May we come to choose to fight the fear to try. Let us learn and grow as knowledge flows through fingers, ears, and eyes, that all may read. All may read. All may
That all may read. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Terry. You know, it's funny, we went through a lot of planning for this, and as you know, Mary Nell coordinated all this, and we have a team behind us. Nobody told us that we should have brought a box of Kleenex with us for this presentation. So,
Turn that up, Tony, please.
Cami Moranos says in the chat box, in these challenging times of the pandemic, it warms my heart to hear these positive and uplifting messages. Everyone is a teacher or a gift giver. Discover your purpose to be purposeful, and thanking teachers so the garden of humanity can grow. You know, what that reminds me of is your parents were thrust into the special club of children who are blind, a club
Yes,
they
indeed.
never thought they would have to join.
Right.
And can you tell me a little bit about your parents and their relationships to your teachers and to your coaches and the people maybe well beyond the School for the Blind that you were in? What were your parents like, and how did they interact with the teachers and vice versa?
Well, you know what? Back then, Kevin, where I was, close to 1,000 miles away from home, and it took me 3 days to get from home to the school on a train and a boat. Newfoundland is an island, so I had to get off the island and come all the way to Halifax. My mom and dad never met any of my teachers until I graduated, when they came to the graduation. And there was some interaction with letters being written, and I had one lovely house parent. Her name was Miss Connors, and she got the idea to, back then it was reel-to-reel tapes, so she got the idea to send reel-to-reel tapes back and forth between the family and me, and that was pretty much it. And even back then, a phone call to home for 3 minutes would have cost $15, $20, and the $20 back then was a it was still on the gold standard, right?
So did you make this trip all by yourself, going from train to boat and all that kind of stuff?
No, well, we went with, so they had people from the Department of Health who travel with, so we'd start in St. John's, which is at the, the tip end of the province. And then we picked children up all along the way. And by the time we got to Halifax, we'd have, 45, 50 people.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So that became another story in and of itself as time went on, because you can imagine the bonds we made with kids, and you get excited. Once we got to know kids, you're sad to see them drop off going home for the summer, but coming back, you're excited to see them, and you had stories about summertime and that kind of thing. But here's one of the things my parents noticed, that when I went to the School for the Blind, it was an opportunity for me to, as I mentioned, to develop vision and to be a dream adjuster. When I say a dream adjuster, I remember we wanted to play basketball. So it was a dream, it was a vision, and a lot of people think, well, how's a kid who's blind going to do that? So they allowed us to talk our way through and come to the conclusion that we would put a beeper in the basketball net and then start practicing throwing it, to the sound of the beeper. And then, so when I talk to kids in the public school system, I say, so we developed earsight, And I let every kid know that, if you took the time to do that, you put a blindfold on, that's a skill that you could develop if you wanted to. So everybody has that opportunity if they needed to. And so that's how my parents came to know my teachers, was through when I came home for the summer, and I was lucky enough to get home for Christmas. Some kids weren't. They would see what happened to me, or how the teachers were, based on what I was able to do and my independence. And I had 8 kids in my family. So my mom would say, get outside and play. And Terry, so I didn't have to worry about, being overprotected. Get out of the house so I can do what I need to do and come back when it's supper time.
Give your mother a break.
Exactly. And
where were you in that group of 8?
2. I was second.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Second oldest, yeah. So my brother Tony was my business partner and manager. Just reach out and wave there, Tony. He became, like, his role switched from second oldest when I left. So he's got that I guess the gift of being third and second. So,
right. At least except during the summers, right? So
mostly summer. I get home for Christmas.
When the prince would come back home and regain his throne, then he would be number 3 again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
so what was mom like and what was dad like? Maybe if you were to capture them in 30 seconds each, what's something that you remember about them?
The first thing about them is that they were kind, loving, but incredibly resilient. I think that was the theme of last year's conference. And then, you know, they had to restore, renew, refresh lots in their lives because 4 of us, I lost my eyes to retinoblastoma. I lost both eyes, and Tony, my brother, I have 2 brothers lost one eye and a sister who lost an eye. So every time there was a child born, you know, they had to say, is it going to be this one? Or, you know, they were incredibly resilient. And the strength they had was just absolutely amazing. And so, you know, I'm sure that passed on to us as well in many different ways, you know. So,
but they didn't say, well, we're just going to stop having babies. They just kept going.
Oh yeah, well that's what you do. It's cold winters down there, Kevin. It's cold. Yeah,
Catholic or Mormon or something like that, you know. We have another. Let's see. Shelley Rhodes says she's a fellow Braille reader. She likes the all may read. Lachelle Smith, I love the term dream adjuster. So does Melody May. Love the dream adjuster. So you've done this now. You talk about ear blindness, I think you said, and you talked about blind in your mind. And how do you come up with this stuff? How do you come up with this stuff?
Well, I know, you know, my son is we read a lot of books that are similar, you know, personal development and professional development and so on. So I had this idea about writing a book called Mind Sight. And my son Jeff says, Dad, I bet you there's already a book written with that title. We went online and there it was. However, it's not exactly the way I mean, it's a different angle, but it's amazing. So those things come up through things I hear about. I mean, I guess being a songwriter, you're a speaker when you're developing your speeches and your programs and your teachings and all that jazz. Our mind goes into, I connect to you know what? You connect to this portal in the universe, and it's either comes to you through, you know, depending on the way you live. You could say it's the universe, it could be God, could be the Holy Spirit, could be Allah, could whatever. It comes in from that big place out there where everything is. I have this friend who's a songwriter, and he's a really good songwriter. And we were talking about writer's block one time. He says, never, ever say you have writer's block. That's an excuse to stop writing. So what he says is every word, every phrase, every idea that you want for your project is out there. So think of that, everybody out there. Everything you want is already there. You just have to go get it. Wow. So knowing it's there, how much easier does that make it, you know?
So my new favorite, second best friend in the Kelly family is your wife. Can you tell us a little bit about her? What is she like, and what have you learned about your work and your future and your impact on the world from her?
Well, she's one of the things that I love about particular people, Kevin, is that candor and being saying it as it is. And so being frank and candid. I was going to start the show one time, a podcast, and I was going to call it, My Name is Frank Candor. I'm going to tell it as it is, right? But so I can always count on her being candid. My brother, manager, candid. You asked about my mom and dad. My mom was candid, in fact. So that's one thing. And also open to I get an idea and I want to go for it. People say you're like a dog with a bone. And so I have people in my life, like my wife and like my Tony, my manager, who say, hang on, can we just think this through? And there's a fine line, between you can wait too long to make something happen. Yeah. So I'm the other, it's a yin and yang of the whole thing, right? So you got to go for it, but you also have to think it through and hopefully make the plan. And sometimes the plan makes itself, as you know, right?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like your life just unfolds. And if there's something that gets in your way, I mean, it just sounds like you kind of adjust yourself and move forward. It doesn't sound like there's not too many, there may be roadblocks, but it doesn't sound like you pay much attention to them.
And therein is the dream adjustment thing. So the thing is that and our ego gets in the way sometimes. You say we've got, it's got to happen this way. It doesn't necessarily happen that way, because if that's the only way you're open to it, that maybe it won't happen. So then you say, if I do this and if I do that, and I can tell you've done that, Kevin, you do that. You feel that from you, and you just find another way around it. And and I love to say, whether it's a young person or I love talk. I'm doing a talk next week to a group of people who are all over 65. And so I'm going to be talking to them about, do you still know what your purpose is? Is there a dream adjustment or is there a dream that you let go because you think you're too old now, or because there was a time in your life you were so busy working, or is it too late? Or can you just make a little dream adjustment and still experience that thing that you've regretted not doing all your life?
There's a famous American philosopher who said, find out who you are and then do it on purpose.
Oh, I love that.
That was Dolly Parton who said that.
Yeah, that's great.
And she certainly has done it for herself. When parents have a child with a visual impairment, especially if they've never had that before, it's a bit of a dream of, quote, the perfect baby immediately smacks them in the face. Right. And then everybody who's listening to us today are what we call the redreamers. They help us redream the dream and give us possibilities. To close out today, maybe could you sing that song about the dream?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I'll just pick my guitar up here. Say that again about the redream. Yeah.
So the dream of a perfect child, that everybody thinks about, and then the baby comes, and within a few months, you find out not everything is perfect like you thought. And it can be very discouraging for parents, especially the first time, maybe every time. And then you start meeting people who do birth to 3 and 3 to 6, and even later, people that are really, my son got a lot of help when he was in his 20s, learning how to even use power tools. So they redream the dream for us. Yeah.
That's lovely. And that's, and a lot of people, when I was in school, they taught us to do that. Table saws, jigsaws, lathes, everything we learned to use. Look, I have all my fingers. Right?
That doesn't mean you flunked the class, right?
Oh, no.
Or skipped the class.
Yeah. No.
Thank you, Terry.
Oh, what's going on here? My guitar is not working. Hang on. Oh. It was muted. There we go. Okay. So this is a song called The Power of the Dream. And picking up on what Kevin and I have been chatting about here, every dream has to be honored with action. And so, and it takes a while sometimes to discover that with the action, something is going to happen. And one of those somethings might be that you can call a failure, or it doesn't work out the right way the first time. And of course, we've all heard about failing forward, or what would you say about that, Kevin? About using failure or experience to learn that you just don't stop.
Yeah, I guess I think of failure as discouragement, and what I need to do is to either find encouragement or to encourage myself. We all fail, don't we? I mean, Rudolf Dreikurs said, "Have the courage to be imperfect," because we are. He said when we're always trying to be perfect all the time, we do nobody any good.
Exactly. And here's the other thing. It's fun to fail sometimes, because the next try is usually better, or you learn something. So it can actually be fun to fail. Yeah. And as long as we don't have the wrong understanding or connotation of failure, yes. Don't let it scare us. Yeah. So, there's a line in this song called "Changing What It Means to Be Blind." I wrote this song for the 5th General Assembly of the World Blind Union that was held in Melbourne, Australia. And so I was asked to write a theme song. And I started writing it here in Halifax, and I was stuck. I mean, I thought this had to be about physical blindness. And I got down, and I was panicking, because I got down there, most of the music was done, And I got down there and said, I've got to come up with something, because they wanted it for the opening ceremonies. So I was listening to a lot of the people talking and some of the things that were happening in their lives. There were people from 150 different countries around the world, excuse me. And I discovered that in the conversations I heard from all the backgrounds and the different people who were at this conference from around the world, that I realized that, hey, this is not just about physical blindness. This is about if you're blind in your mind. And that's where the mind sight comes. So, and I often think, and I will often say, that being blind in your mind is more debilitating than being blind in your eyes. And if you have both, that's great. But if your eyes are not working well, you can still see a lot. But we have to work it and exercise it like any muscle, and work on our blind sight, and don't pass our blindness on to other people. And that's where sometimes with parents or anyone who's teaching a person who's blind, sometimes if you have your fear of something, you'll pass that fear on to the person if you're not careful. So being blind in our mind, it's contagious as well. You can pass this type of blindness on. So it's always good to check whether we're blind in our minds or not. Anyway, so here it is. It's called The Power of the Dream. Look, see that movement everywhere, improvement. 150 million tongues, one clear voice from the land down under. Song, the sound of thunder, singing the dream to opening ears all over the world. There's a buzz in the air. The people from far and near have made a choice. The choice is clear, changing what it means to be blind. Step by step, one day at a time. Still much to do, but it shall be. At the sighted eyes of the world will be able to see. There will be changes. The power of the dream, due diligence by you and me, changing what it means to be blind. Women of every nation are rising to the occasion to change humankind by movement and mind. We shall be as one. What of youth and the children? Empowerment is their freedom, and we must convey by example so they can say, no big deal, I'm blind. And the eyes of the earth will acknowledge the person first through our vision by knowing our worth, changing what it means to be blind. Step by step, one day at a time. Still much to do, but it shall be. At the sighted eyes of the world will be able to see. There will be changes. The power of the dream, due diligence by you and me, changing what it means to be blind. Many drops of rain grow forests and bring big mountains down. Hands across all borders, boundaries, and nations take walls down. Lift the veils, unfurl the sails, new journeys will abound. No one but ourselves can stop us now. What it means to be blind. Step by step, one day at a time. Still much to do, but it shall be. At the sighted eyes of the world will be able to see.
never be changing. The power of a dream, due diligence by you and me, changing what it means to be blind, changing what it means to be blind. Look, see that movement, the power of the dream.
Wow, thank you, Terry. No wonder Princess Margaret was rocking and rolling, you know? And when I mentioned Kleenex before, it just occurred to me that sometimes there's tears of sadness, but also there's tears of hope.
Yes,
and,
indeed.
And I think that's what you've taught me tonight, is that not just we can accomplish anything, but the mind has to see, and hear and feel and touch. I'm going to ask everybody as we close to go into the chat box, and would you tell Terry what you liked, learned, or appreciated about him tonight? We'll save the chat, Terry, so that you'll get a chance to read it yourself.
Thank you. And Kevin, before we close off, I want to thank you for,
you're welcome.
I mean, we're a couple of thousand miles apart, and I feel your aura and your energy right in this room. And thank you for making me feel comfortable having this chat with you. You're absolutely, you were born to do this, and thank you so much.
Thank you. And God bless you and your family. It's just great. Please say hello to my second best friend in your family later tonight. Okay. And the Queen sends her best, as does Wayne Newton. So you have fans all over the world.
Excellent. I'll receive that.
And the ideas are coming through like crazy on the chat box. What did you like, learn, or appreciate? This is always the best way to say goodbye to somebody. And a fond farewell to you, Terry. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to Holly. Holly, come on back. It's up to you now.
Thanks, Kev.
Actually, it's up to Mary Nell.
Mary Nell. Never dull.
It's all one big family. Well, thank you, everybody, each of you two, and for everybody for all their kind comments. One thing I wanted to say is that many of you probably saw people you know, or people you recognize, or people you are in those photos. I have to thank the Joanne McNamee. Joanne, I hope you saw yourself dancing with the husky. And also Lynn Fox and the people at the Western Pennsylvania School for Blind Children, but Overbrook, the Western Pennsylvania School, a number of other individuals, the Marine Army and the VA. So thank you for contributing those. And I have to admit, I bootlegged a few from people that I know in my career. But what we want to say is that I wanted to especially point out that there was a very young Kevin O'Connor holding his son, Corb, who is the young man that he was talking about, that the visual impairment. Corb, of course, now is a grown adult with a family of his own. That was,
Mary Nell, that was Corb holding his son, Silas.
Oh, was that? Oh, that was... well, that's wonderful. So we just passed it on. Well, that's terrific. So thank you. And we had some of Terry and his biking, and Terry in other places in the world. So thank you both for giving us the time and the effort. And you're right, a lot of time went into the preparation for this that you both contributed. But more than that, thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your friendship. We appreciate it. And now it's my pleasure to turn the program back over to Holly. This is where Holly comes on. And she is going to have a very, very special celebration for us tonight. So thanks, guys. We appreciate it. I'll be back in touch. And thanks for the audience for all your nice comments. And there's Holly.
Thank you, Mary Nell. Wow. I would also like to express my gratitude to both Kevin and Terry for such uplifting messages. That was an amazing performance. Thank you both. Here's some more great news. The PennDOW AER chapter has received the 2020 Outstanding Chapter Award. This is actually the third time that we've received this award. So congratulations to all of you for contributing to this outstanding chapter. The AER Outstanding Chapter Award is awarded every 2 years to a chapter that demonstrates strong membership as well as meaningful chapter activities. In the spring of 2020, our chapter developed a team to submit our nomination letter. The team included Brenda Egan, Debbie Holsaffel, Angela Humbertson, Mary Nell McLennan, Vince McVeigh, Rebecca Renshaw, and myself. Even though we were entering a pandemic and so many things were uncertain, this committee worked very, very hard to put together the nomination. We were recognized for our strong committee work, as well as areas of our strategic plan, including leadership, mentoring, professional development, membership, and board engagement. At this time, I'd like to share a slideshow that we've prepared to express our gratitude for being the recipients of the Outstanding Chapter Award. So Doug, go ahead and play our slideshow. Hello, my name is Holly Russell, and I am the current president of the Pennsylvania-Delaware chapter of AER. On behalf of the board and our membership, we are extremely grateful to AER for this recognition. I will be your narrator for today's story. I was telling one of my students about our receiving the AER Outstanding Chapter Award, and he asked me to tell him about PennDel AER. So I told him, our chapter has a very rich history of providing worthwhile and beneficial professional development opportunities. Through our efforts, the supports and services for all service providers and members have been enhanced. PennDel AER today is made up of a strong community of professionals who demonstrate teamwork and dedication to its mission, which is to support professionals who provide education and rehabilitation services to people with visual impairments. Our chapter members often say that they feel like family. The PennDel AER board is committed to implementing innovative ideas and finding ways to improve the work of the chapter for the benefit of its members and the community it serves. We currently have 20 board members, which includes a student ambassador. In 2018, chapter leaders Rebecca Renshaw and Angela Humbertson guided the board of directors in a self-assessment, which led to the development and implementation of a strategic plan. The 6 strategic plan focus areas are advocacy for the field, professional development, leadership and mentoring, membership, board engagement, and nonprofit status and chapter sustainability. The strategic planning goals, which have been integrated into the work of committees, include an outstanding website, membership incentives, and communication available in an accessible and professional format. Our chapter hosts a nationally recognized annual conference where board and conference activities take place. As the pictures show, these activities include general and concurrent sessions, as well as the chance to socialize through Meet the Board and university receptions. In 2019, the first leadership workshop was held and received wonderful reviews. The 2020 leadership workshop needed to change from an in-person to virtual format. The planning committee showed perseverance and dedication to present a virtual leadership series. Our chapter conference provides outstanding member recognition at the awards banquet. In 2020, when the in-person conference was canceled, the awards committee made the decision to be resilient and plan the first virtual awards ceremony. The pictures on the slide show the 2019 awards ceremony, as well as opportunities for networking and the chance to participate in exhibitor demonstrations and the silent auction. In the past few years, the Conference Planning Committee has demonstrated the ability to think outside the box. The slides show members participating in painting and kayaking activities with the use of blindfolds and vision simulators. The PennDel AER Board recognizes members each year with the PennDel AER Richard L. Welsh Service Award and the Eleanor Long Educator of the Year Award. This slide shows previous recipients of both of these awards. The PennDel AER Board recognizes deserving students with the Student Scholarship. Our chapter is very proud to support our future leaders. When PennDOW AER applied for the 2020 Outstanding Chapter Award, we asked members to tell us what they thought of our chapter. Here's what they said: the most welcoming, collaborative, and knowledgeable. Meaningfulness of the professional relationships. Dedication shows through in your tireless work. Effective, collaborative, interdisciplinary group of professionals. When asked about the conference, one member said, the opportunity to be included with professionals dedicated to the mission of improving outcomes was an overwhelming positive experience. The word cloud has descriptive words that help us bridge where we are and where we are going. These words include commitment, professionalism, networking, accessibility, and mentoring. Words such as resilience and virtual help us to transition to where we are going. PennDOW AER continues to self-evaluate, analyze, and make changes within the organization to stay current and relevant with research and innovative ideas that produce a positive impact on the population we support and serve. We will maintain our flexibility and resilience in our chapter activities through 2020 and beyond, whether virtual or in person. As our story continues, our chapter remains dedicated to balancing professionalism through working together, having fun, and maintaining friendships that compose a strong team, which feels like a warm, connected family. I was very proud to be able to tell this story to my student. In the words of Walt Disney, whatever we accomplish belongs to our entire group, a tribute to our combined effort. The PennDOW AER chapter is truly honored, humbled, and grateful to be receiving the 2020 AER Outstanding Chapter Award. Thank you very much. Congratulations, PennDOW AER. I hope you enjoyed the slideshow, and I hope you're all feeling the same amount of pride in our chapter that I'm feeling right now. Congratulations, PennDOW AER. I hope you enjoyed the slideshow, and I hope you're feeling the same amount of pride in our chapter that I'm feeling right now. I'm very grateful and proud to be a member of such a wonderful chapter. At this time, I'd like to introduce Vince McVeigh, who will be the MC of the social hour. Vince has given so many hours of service to PennDOW AER over the years. He's currently our chapter treasurer and has served many roles on the board of directors, including board president. Vince is currently retired from the Chester County Intermediate Unit, although it's difficult to tell that he's retired from all of the work that he does for PennDOW AER. He has been involved in providing both educational and rehabilitative services to persons with visual impairments for 40 years, and throughout much of that time has been actively involved in professional organizations serving these populations, including AER and CEC. He served as an officer at the national level for CEC DVH, the state level for Pennsylvania CEC, and has been an active PennDOW AER member for many years. Now I turn it over to Vince to MC the social hour.
Thanks, Holly. I appreciate the introduction. I'm looking forward to our attendees staying with us as we have a little time to enjoy in a very relaxed setting what to me this conference is about, and that's a chance to mix and mingle and support each other. And I think the show with Terry and Kevin certainly did that, very uplifting. At this time, I know some people who may not be able to stay with us want to know what the code is for session 1, and I was reminded that I should do that first. And I think the code's appropriate, seeing that we're trying to build reliance and resilience among ourselves. It's been our focus all year to make us stronger so we could do a good job for our clients and our students. And so the code for the first session is strengthen, and STRENGTHEN, strengthen. So that's the code. And hopefully, though, now that you have the code, some of you will remain with me. And what I'm hoping to do today is to move past virtual and even further, and just ask you to imagine with me that you're there today, Wednesday, at the Best Western Hotel. That's where we all want to be, and hopefully we will be there next year. We're in the lobby, and the crowd is just leaving the session that Terry and Kevin performed. Shortly, I'll ask Terry to sing us a little song so we have time to get to where we have to go next. And as you all know, the Best Western staff is tremendous. They always have your back. One of the staff is right here behind me in case he needs any help. But I think we'll be okay. We got a great tech team in the back room helping us. So Terry, could I hear our song? I just think of it as a transition as people are milling out into the lobby. Can you look at the crowd and look at the smiling faces? It's incredible. I'd love to have Terry's song.
Yeah, Vince, it's great. The people are just milling all about. We just finished dessert. Boy, that was a good meal. And I really enjoyed that salmon. Fabulous. It was great. And where are we going now, Vince? Are we going in to have an after dinner cocktail, or some people can have coffee or tea? But what's happening here? What's the big plan?
Well, we're going to get there eventually. People are milling around, whether at registration. I know students are pouring in. They always volunteer. But eventually, Terry, as I promised, we will get to O'Reilly's Tavern and maybe have a Smittix or something, okay?
Yeah, and do you have a special secret guest going to join you at O'Reilly's Tavern there?
Well,
what's his name? What's that guy's name?
Who are you talking about, Billy?
Yeah.
My good friend, Bill McCann. Bill comes every year to the conference, and that's one of the things I look forward to. But Bill's going to spend some time with me a little later, and we will certainly look for you and hopefully Kevin down at O'Reilly's.
Yep. See you there, and we'll raise a glass. Indeed.
I hope raise a glass. I hope so. I'm ready.
Okay, this is a song called "Celebrate Life," and I think this is a celebration of all you people who work with children, who work with adults, who are the re-dreamers. I love that idea, Kevin, that said to create, re-dream your dream. So things will work out, and so your mind sight will be as acute and as exciting as possible, and you'll see all the possibilities for yourselves and for whether it's an adult or a young person you're working with. So it's called Celebrate Life. So let's do just that. Here we go. Hey, celebrate life. Much to learn, endless confusion pouring down. She lets him scream and swear, then they kneel in prayer, and they make a vow that no matter how this plays out, rest assured let there be no doubt. We'll celebrate, say it now, celebrate life, find the joy of the journey, shine our light, many hearts, many minds, grow hope and make us strong, together we'll overcome, celebrate life, hey, celebrate life. Celebrate life, shine your light. Amazed by the smile, the courage of a child. In all of the woman's resolve to live strong. I'm inspired by the man who embraces a plan. Come what may, they will live on. If you don't know what to say to someone, just be there. Take a walk in the see some ocean. If we stand together, we will survive. We will bid this beast goodbye. So let us keep our dream alive, and we'll celebrate life. Sing with me now. Joy the journey and shine our light. Many hearts. make us strong. Make us strong. Together we'll overcome. Together we'll overcome. Celebrate life. Hey, celebrate. Shine your light. Shine that light. Yeah, yeah. Celebrate. Yeah, shine your light. Yeah, fill every moment with love. Shine your light. Yeah, celebrate. Fill every moment with love. Ooh, celebrate life. Off we go to the social. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Billy's coming soon.
Thank you, Terry. That's wonderful. It's a great way to move out of the large hall after that great first session presentation that you and Kevin did. And I'm already seeing some people imagining, just as I am, Stephanie Van hugging some of her friends out in the lobby. Young lady saying she was thrilled she drove down from Maine for the show. That's what I'm trying to get us into. Just pretend we're there. And Terry, just as you mentioned that, you know, I look forward to seeing some old friends. Actually, I'm looking for a younger friend, and I see Bill McCann coming up from across the hallway. So I'm going to say goodbye, Terry, and give a little time with Bill, and we'll catch you later at O'Reilly's, okay?
Yeah, say hi to Bill for me there. And
I will.
All right, great, thanks.
Bill, how you doing?
Hey, Vince. Nice to bump into you here in the good old, what do we call this place that we usually meet? The Best Western.
The Best Western, yeah. Well, we do a lot of bumping into each other here. It's crowded, and there's a good crowd, and we're all excited to see each other, but I'm always glad to see you, Bill. How was your trip up? Everything good?
The trip up was great. Uneventful. I take the train up, and
okay.
It's one of the best kept secrets in transportation, that you can come up from Valley Forge or Paoli to Harrisburg. I think it was like $30.
All right, very good.
But wait a minute,
Bill,
I'm trying to get my video going. Can you guys see me?
I can see your nose and down, and that's the best part of you, Bill.
Cool. All right. Jaws was telling me I wasn't connected. All right.
No, you're connected.
All right.
You are connected, Bill. And listen, you know, Terry was mentioning, you know, his background, his schooling and so forth. And I know, because you and I grew up in the same geographic area, I was a few years ahead of you, that you had your own educational journey. And would you just share that with me a little bit? I love hearing the stories, because I knew all the people at St. Lucy's and Bonner and so forth. But tell me your educational trip, would you, buddy?
Sure. Well, you know, one of the best starts I could imagine for myself was what happened. I got to go to St. Lucie Day School in Philadelphia, and the sisters there from kindergarten on taught me, made sure I knew two things: my catechism and Braille. And they made sure I knew both of them really well. And of course, we went on to other stuff like mathematics and English. And by the time I was in 8th grade, St. Lucy's, even back as early as the 50s, was mainstreaming children with the local parish school, St. Francis. And I was spending most of my day in class with the sighted kids, which prepared me to go to my local high school, Monsignor Bonner, your alma mater and mine.
Right.
And I was the only blind student out of 2,000 boys. It was a school for boys at that time.
Hey, Bill, before you go any further, I don't want to interrupt you, but
yeah,
people want to see you. So push your screen back just a little bit so we have your whole head. That's better. Oh, down a little bit. Thank you, Bill. You got it.
There you go. All right. Yeah, so I went to Monsignor Bonner, and meantime, when I was at St. Lucy's, for my 9th birthday, I got a trumpet, and my mom made sure I found a teacher who knew Braille music, and it was a wonderful teacher, Miss Facenda, who was at that time was at the Overbrook School for the Blind, and she was John Facenda's niece, by the way, and you local people would remember John Facenda. He had this wonderful voice. But anyway, so Miss Facenda taught me some Braille music for about 6 months, and then she got married and moved away. And so I kept learning Braille music kind of on my own, and I got to Bonner and joined the band and the orchestra and the chorus. Had wonderful volunteers making me Braille scores, and decided that music was the thing for me. And I went to a local school here, now known as the University of the Arts on South Broad Street, the Avenue of the Arts. And I was not the first blind student to go through there, but I was the only one when I got there. And Braille music really got me through. I got my degree in music. I spent a year being a full-time musician. I was playing in every church and nightclub that would have me. I was teaching sighted and blind kids to play the trumpet. I even sold some of my arrangements, but after a year, I said, you know, I don't want to be this poor for too much longer. What can I do? And so, continuing my education, I called another wonderful benefactor of mine, George Schober. God rest his soul. George passed away, but George, he said, as soon as I said, I'm thinking about maybe studying something to do with computers. He said, go down to the University of Penn, take the test, come on. So I took the test and they said, we think you can do this. And I had to decide, like, I always thought I was going to be a musician. So had to switch gears. Getting back to Terry and Kevin's wonderful talk, it was kind of like my version of, redreaming. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I spent 10 months at the program. At the time, it was called the Physically Handicapped Training Center, which was a pretty terrible name for a school.
Yeah.
Because the school wasn't physically handicapped. But anyhow, I got an offer of an internship at Sunoco, or they were calling themselves the Sun Company. And then they offered me a job, and I said, sure. And so I did that full time for almost 10 years. And then I had a chance to take a deal, sort of the golden handshake thing, and start what became Dancing Dots.
Well, Bill, obviously technology's played a role, whether it was in the beginning when you were using a Braille writer to what's out there now, and you certainly know better than me. Obviously, you've used technology in your Dancing Dots programs, and I know you have a song that sort of catches some of your thoughts about technology and what might be coming down the road. And would you mind singing us a little bit of your?
Yeah, let's go with that. There might be a little setup here to make sure you guys can hear me, but
it's all right. Take your time.
The idea behind the song is I was imagining, what would it be like for a blind person to just walk up and get into a vehicle and say, take me to Vince's house, and just get out on the road by yourself in this machine that's going at very high rates of speed. And what would the feelings of that be, and what kind of funny things might happen to you when that happens? So let's see if I can get this going. If everything works, you guys are going to see the words on the screen and hear me sing it with my digital accompaniment. So what you're going to see is the words in software, actually. So let's see. I need to share my screen, right? So.
And while Billy's doing that, I'll tell you, behind the scenes, we have a couple tech people, Doug and Greg and Becky, who've been helping us work these things out. So even though I'm asking you to imagine, you understand there's a lot of great effort going on behind us. Here we go.
Remote control button to move through items, press up or down arrow space. Remote. Auto accept all requests. Auto accept all escape. Remote control button. More button drop down.
Not what I want.
Space.
I want this one.
Chat 66. Records Alt plus R. Meeting info. Hide subtitle. View full trans. Subtitle settings. Disable annotation. Hide names. Hide video panel. Hide floating meeting. Share sound. Check.
Is everyone getting that?
So you guys may hear a familiar voice. The voice of Jaws.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Here comes. So, again, if all goes well, I'm going to sing for you the song I call The Glorious Dream, the Ballad of the Google Car. And just a little aside, because even though I wrote the song, I'm better at the tune than the words. I wrote this down with my own, hang on, visual slate and stylus. All right. All right, now let me turn off the put my speech on demand so we don't have to hear that. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I put my speech on demand. I lost my speech. Hang on. Wow. There we go. Now I'm going to stand up and sing a song, so I'm going to tip my screen back so you guys can see me. How's that working, Vince?
Come a little closer, Billy.
Okay.
There you go. You're good.
All right, let's see. Here we go.
Now, I hope you're all imagining Bill and I are making fools of ourselves right in the middle of the hotel lobby here, okay?
Okay, hang on. All right, let's see.
All right, Bill.
So lost in a glorious dream, my horizons are boundless, and although I am sightless, I command all I can't see. The faster I'm speeding along, there's concern for contusion in this world of illusions. Could this be happening to me? I am riding in my Google car. There's nobody driving on the road all alone, just potholes, Siri, and me. I'm cruising in my Google car. They say it's self-driving, but I have the feeling there's something else I may need. When I stop to fill up my tank, I cause consternation. When I locate the pumps using only my trusty white cane, it's called a Google car. They say it's self-driving, yet I have a feeling there's something else I may need. Still wrapped in my glorious dream, I have made the decision, despite risk of collision, to relax and just drive. Oh, who could foresee such a day when we could navigate freely, passing semis discreetly, going 75. I am riding my Google car. They say it's self-driving. I'm hurtling through my destinations at high rates of speed. Should have brailled that one. I'm cruising in my Google car. Say it's self-driving, yet I have the feeling there's something else I may need. So next time you're in need of a lift, tap the app on that small screen. Don't be afraid to hop in for a spin when I pull to the curb. It's called a Google car. They say it's self-driving. I've planned out our route. We'll arrive sometime later today. But if you see me in my Google car without cellular data, pull over real quick. Be sure to get out of my way.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go, Billy. Thank you.
Yep.
Bill, when you wrote that song, did you imagine Tesla would be coming on the scene?
I think what came through my mind, Vince, was a phrase that attorneys use. If they want to use the song, I will not be unreasonable.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Bill. I know technology's played a big role in your life and the life of a lot of our students and clients.
And, you know, I say that to people. I say, you know, to customers too. I say, if you have to be blind, this is a great time in history to be blind. I'm not kidding about that. It really, yeah.
Bill, listen, I noticed across the lobby, and I hope you'll join me. I see some of my old Pitt friends. You know, I student taught at the Western Pennsylvania School for Blind Children. Joe Wasserman was my co-op back in the day, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. You mind going over and joining me so we go see what's going on over at Western PA?
Let's say hello. Sure.
Okay. Yeah, boy, it's great to see it. Every year, you know, I see some of the Pitt folks, and that's where I got my start in vision. I see Dr. Ondek, Heidi Ondek here. I was going to ask her to give us a little feel about what's going on at Western PA this year. So if Dr. Ondek wouldn't mind, maybe we could hear from her just a little bit. Hey, Heidi, how are you?
As I look back on the past year at the Western Pennsylvania School for Blind Children, I am just inspired and really amazed at the resilience of our entire community. Our children and how they just rolled with this year of multiple starts followed by closures, only to reopen again. The families partnered with us more than ever in what we have learned from parents and caregivers. Our staff, who in a moment's notice were able to adapt so quickly to provide remote instruction, making sure that kids' needs were met beyond the instructional needs they had, from delivering equipment to special foods, to just making sure families were cared for.
One thing that we've done for parents and caregivers is offer parent information sessions. So myself and one of the behavior specialists at the school, Sam Kostelnik, have been able to offer Zoom sessions at night that parents are able to attend. So these Zoom sessions have taken two forms. One has been, we have really focused on different topics like mindfulness, self-care, and self-compassion. Another thing that the parents have really found helpful was connecting with other parents. They have really found that they understand most what they're going through, and being able to talk it through with someone who's going through some of the same challenges was really rewarding to them. Lastly, we've really kind of taken a focus on self-care for our teachers and staff members, with really focusing on making sure that teachers and staff members are taking care of themselves, both inside and outside of the school setting.
I think that we did a good job this year of embracing one another. We call it collaboration, but what we were really doing was looking out for each other, taking care of each other, giving one another some grace, giving ourselves some grace. And I think through it all, we have come out of this as better people and certainly a stronger school community than ever before. Our challenge ahead is to stay with some of the things that have come out of this past year that are better. Some ways of teaching and learning, some ways of communicating, some ways of continuing to learn together that are superior to anything we've done in the past. So we're trying to harness the good as we press on and move past what was a very trying year that brought out the best in everyone. So I'm very proud of my school community, and I wish all of you, all those working in schools and serving children and families, the very best in the coming year.
Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate it. And Lindsay, thanks. It's great to see both of you. I know you had some flurries today out there in the Pittsburgh area. Hope it didn't make your trip in very hard, but it's great that you could make it to the conference this year. Hey, Bill, I'm going to say goodbye for just a little bit, and I hope to join you a little later down at the O'Reilly's.
Sounds good.
I need to touch base with the students from Kutztown. They come every year and they volunteer. So I see them over there gathering. I suspect that they're getting their instructions from Dr. McCarthy and probably Nicole Johnson. So let me go over and say hello to them, and I'll catch you later, Bill, okay? Hey, Nicole, how are you? How are things going at Kutztown this year? I'm glad you could get some of your students here. It's always great to see them. Was the year very different for you with all this virtual education going on? Did it affect the student teachers?
Hi everyone. Since we can't be together face to face at Pendel, I was very excited to give a little update on Kutztown University. We have had our classes face to face in the Vision program safely since the fall with some social distancing and mask wearing. We were successfully able to have our Braille class and O&M class. And this semester, we're able to also have all our classes face to face. I'm looking forward to being with everyone next year, hopefully at Pendel, because we really, really miss going this year. But we're making the best out of the situation by having guest speakers in, like Leisha, who came in to do a make and take on CVI. And I feel like our students are still learning and growing. We're really excited because 2 weeks ago, we got the okay for the students to be able to start touching again with wearing masks and using hand sanitizer. So our sophomores finally got to learn their human guide that they missed out on last semester. We also got the opportunity to pair with Hawk Mountain Sanctuary and make all their signs Braille and accessible to visually impaired. And we trained the staff on how to guide someone that might come who is blind through the trails. So
we might have lost you, Nicole, but I appreciate you adding to tonight's session. I look forward every year to the conference because we get to meet some of the up and coming professionals. They contribute to the conference with their volunteer work. And often it gives supervisors who are attending a chance to meet some students who may become their employees down the road. So thank you, Nicole, for showing up. And like you said, I look forward to seeing you and your students next year. And listen, why I'm down here, that when I think about students, I know, we're fortunate to have 3 personnel prep programs in the state. And I think Salis is having their little alumni gathering down at Terry at O'Reilly's Tavern. They've done that for several years. So I'm going to walk in there and take a look and see if I can find, oh, there's Fabiana and Emily, and I think Carrie's there. So let's go see what's happening with the Salis alumni gathering. It's one of the highlights. We've been doing that for the last few years, and I can see they made it again this year.
Here's a story of a university that is located in Elkins Park, PA. It's called Salis, and our faculty will introduce today. JD Maffitt runs our O&M program, and Michelle Smith leads the VRTs. Carrie leaders Dressel Vision Rehabilitation, and directs TVI with Emily. Fabiana Perla is our fearless leader. Staff and adjuncts add that extra punch to a department with 4 unique programs. That's the way we all became the Salis Bunch. The Salis Bunch. The Salis Bunch. And that's the way we say hi from the Salis Bunch.
Wow. You can see how people relax when they're down at O'Reilly's Tavern. They loosen up and they're a little bit more relaxed. That's why I spend a little bit of time in there every year. Thanks, folks from Salis. It was great that you could make it, and maybe we'll see you there again in a little bit. I'm hoping that Bill joins me down here. I mentioned we'd get together back at O'Reilly's, because there's one thing I am looking forward to, and that's maybe toasting the whole PennDel chapter for the outstanding award, and again for just being able to make it to the conference. So whether you want, you want a cup of coffee and celebrate with coffee or tea, or you want to have a beer. Oh, here comes Bill. Bill, come on and sit down with me. Let me get you some. Young lady, could I have another Smittix for Bill? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. The staff at O'Reilly's is great. They'll get you anything you want. Bill, how you doing? And maybe Kevin and Terry will join us here a little later. I don't know. Can I pour you a beer? Yeah, okay. Thank you. As I mentioned to you before, I was hoping we'd do a little toast. But before we do that, I'd like to ask Holly, who gave us the presentation earlier, to just fill us in on how her year was as our president and in these rough times. Holly, could you give us a little bit of your thoughts on how the year went? And then maybe I can buy you a drink.
Hi, my name is Holly Russell, and I'm the current president of PennDel AER. I was asked to say a few words today about where we are as a chapter. We are rewarded. We are the 2020 AER Outstanding Chapter. We've received this award twice now, once in 2010 and now in 2020, and we are so grateful to have received this award. We are reliable. We're a chapter that's standing strong to provide professional developments to our members, even through a pandemic. We've shown this by presenting 6 virtual leadership events, 2 virtual award ceremonies, and a virtual conference. We are resilient. We're a strong family that demonstrates resilience and works to support the diverse professions and the population that we serve. We are represented by a diverse population of professionals, from those that are new in the field to those that are retired. And how many fields can you work where you can work with those that are new in the field as well as those that are retired? Wonderful, wonderful learning opportunity for all of us. We are reposted on Facebook, retweeted on Twitter, and awfully proud of our website. Please feel free to visit us at penndelaer.org. Feel free to sign up for some committees and join us. We'd love to have you work with us.
Thanks, Holly. Listen, I'm glad you could be here this year, and you've done a great job. So thanks for adding a few words. And like Holly says, we're trying to stay connected, especially during these times in social media. So don't forget, you can find us on Facegram, Instabook, or Twister, whichever one of the social media devices you like to use. And I think there's no better time than right now to toast to PennDel AER and to some degree to the job Holly's done leading us as our president. So whether you want to have a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whether you have your favorite mug that you want to toast with, or just maybe a beer like Bill and I are going to do. I've tried to think of something, maybe new and original that we could use as a toast. And so I was thinking that on 3, we might all say, "We are PennDel. We are PennDel." All right, I know that's original. No one's ever heard that, but here we are. 1, 2, 3. We are PennDel. We are PennDel. To the best chapter in the country and to the great group of people, teachers, rehab specialists, whatever. And we're going to be leaving soon. It's getting late. I want to wish all the attendees well. Hopefully, I'll see you later today. And certainly I'll see you tomorrow, and then at the exhibitors session on Friday. I know Bill will be there with his Dancing Dots program. And so as we leave tonight, I'm going to head up. I'm getting a little tired myself. I did ask the Overbrook School for the Blind to give us a little song to close out the night. And then Angela will come back for just a few words. So if the choir would like to sing us a good night, I'd appreciate it very much.
It's the nighttime, the stars are bright. The moon is shining and the sun is coming down. The leaves are falling, the wind is blowing too. I wanna spend some time dreaming with you. And sometimes I get afraid on this journey. I don't want to be alone. And sometimes I overcome with worry. Will I make it home? That's when I dream. Life is not what it seems. Yeah, anything is possible. Dream, no matter how hard it can be. All you gotta do is believe. I'll ride on a rocket into space. Explore the earth with a smile upon my face. Climb the mountains and breathe in the air. Close your eyes, come with me if you dare. Take my hand and hear my voice. I'm gonna make it, the future is my choice. Step by step, taking it day by day. I will find my way. 'Cause when I dream, life is not what it seems. Yeah, anything is possible. Dream, no matter how hard it can be. All you gotta do is believe. All you gotta do is So my friends, until that day, listen to my heart and what it has to say. When I sing, I will be heard. I'm gonna spread my wings. I'm gonna fly like a bird. Life is not what it seems. Yeah, anything is possible. Dream, no matter how hard it can be. All you gotta do is believe.
All right. We want to thank everybody for attending this session. Just a reminder, there will be 3 sessions tomorrow. Session 2 is with Robin Clark at 9 a.m. Session 3 is with Dr. Marla Moon at 1 p.m. And the virtual awards event is at 6:30. Please remember you need to register for each of those. We hope to see you at all of them. And then the PennDel AER annual membership business meeting will occur following the conclusion of session 2. If you are a member, please remain on to hear about the great things the board has done and plans to do in the future, as well as vote for new board members. We will have the opportunity to thank those board members rotating off and welcome the new board members. Thank you, and we hope to see you all tomorrow. Doug or Greg, can you roll the credits, please?
Taking Charge, Restore, Refresh, Renew. This virtual conference is provided by the PennDel chapter of AER. We are glad you joined us. PennDel AER expresses deep appreciation to our guest presenters for their ideas, insights, and generosity. Terry Kelly, Kevin O'Connor, Robin Clark, Dr. Marla Moon, thanks for being on our team. A special thanks to the PennDel AER Conference Planning Committee, Conference Chair, Angela Humbertson, Assistant Chair, Aaron Weaver, Members, Gail Aquino, Dale Cohen, Brenda Egan, Debbie Holzapfel, Frank Erzik, Rebecca Knob, Greg Lazier, Maria Lepore-Stevens, Helene Morano, Melody May, Tessa McCarthy, Mary Nell McLennan, Joanne McNamee, Vince McVeigh, Holly Rupp. All of our conference materials can be accessed through the PennDel Conference Documents Dropbox folder. There is a link on this slide. Please note that not every session offers handouts. This conference has been approved by ACV REP. We will announce a verification code at the end of each session. Details regarding continuing education hours and how to access a verification of attendance form are in the conference program. Please find this in the PennDel Conference Documents Dropbox folder. PennDel AER thanks all of our exhibitors for their participation and their support in this conference. PennDel AER thanks our techies, Greg Lazier, Doug Williams, Becky Knob, and Patton, for their time, resources, and support. PennDel AER thanks our communications committee for making all of our materials accessible. Join us in June when we present Billy Brookshire's Taking Care of Ourselves, Helping Us So We Can Help Others. The date and time will soon be announced. PennDel extends our special thanks to Icons 8 and the musician Gabriel for the song Belong. This is the song that played during the opening loop. The code for this session is Strengthen, capital STRENGTHEN. The code for this session is Strengthen. Thank you for joining us. We hope you will attend our 2022 conference in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, April 27th through the 29th, 2022. A picture of the PennDel AER logo.